Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we're going to take a closer look at the monstrous Carnotaurus. Among all the predators that have ever roared on the animated big screen, few have left as powerful, intimidating, and visually terrifying an impression as the mighty Carnotaurus featured in Dinosaur, the Disney film released in the year 2000. These colossal carnivorous beasts were not only conceived as the story's primary antagonists, but also as a force of nature, an unrelenting threat that serves as a symbol of the constant danger lurking around the protagonists in a hostile and ever-changing world. Their mere presence heightens the film's narrative tension, making them truly unforgettable figures for anyone who experienced this movie during childhood. From the very moment they appear on screen, the Carnotaurus dominate the scene with their titanic presence. Unlike their real-life counterparts, smaller and far less intimidating, Disney's designers chose to dramatically increase their size and proportions, turning them into genuine monsters. Their bulky bodies, rough dark-toned skin, tiny yet menacing eyes, and terrifying jaws filled with sharp teeth make them a living nightmare. They are the very embodiment of predatory power, and their design, which blends paleontological realism with a horror-driven visual style, has been widely praised by fans of animated cinema. These creatures represent more than just simple obstacles in the protagonist's path. They symbolize the imbalance nature suffers after the meteor strike. Displaced, starving hunters forced to relentlessly pursue the surviving dinosaurs. Although we only see two Carnotaurus in the final version of the film, who, according to the designers, are brothers. Early concept art included a third, even larger individual identified as their father. This creature was intended to play a more active role at the beginning of the movie, being responsible for the massacre of Alida's biological parents. However, that scene was ultimately cut, likely to avoid surpassing the emotional boundaries Disney allows in its family-oriented films. The story unfolds in the aftermath of a cosmic tragedy. A meteor of catastrophic proportions crashes into Earth, unleashing an ecological disaster of colossal magnitude. The event triggers fires, mass destruction, and the collapse of entire habitats, forcing herbivorous dinosaurs to migrate en masse toward a legendary place known as the nesting grounds, where they hope to find refuge and food. But their journey will be anything but easy, as the Carnotaurus lurk in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. One of the most intense and atmospheric scenes in the film occurs when a young Parasaurolophus, distracted while playing, wanders into a wooded area. There, he notices a dangling substance that appears to be vegetation, but quickly discovers, in horror, that it's actually saliva. Then the danger becomes clear. One of the Carnotaurus is camouflaged, hidden among the trees, silently stalking its prey. This moment reveals that these predators are not only about brute strength, they also possess cunning, capable of waiting patiently for the perfect opportunity to attack. Their presence becomes a constant shadow over the protagonist's journey. Crone, the herd's leader, ignores the warning signs and leads the group with a firm and authoritarian hand, while Alida, the protagonist raised by lemurs, tries to foster cooperation and empathy. Amid this ideological tension, the Carnotaurus follow every step of the herd, waiting for a weak or straggling member to fall behind so they can hunt it down effortlessly. One of their most striking appearances occurs when they interrupt a group of raptors that were feeding. The Carnotaurus scare them off without much effort, demonstrating that they not only sit at the top of the food chain, but also enforce their dominance without mercy. That scene establishes the true level of threat they represent. They are not just predators, they are the apex predators of this devastated world. The brutality of these monsters intensifies when they ambush Bruton and another dinosaur who had gone searching for water. Only Bruton survives, but he's left injured and traumatized. This ambush reinforces the idea that the Carnotaurus don't just hunt out of necessity. they also seem to revel in the chaos they create. The herd's tracks lead the predators straight to an artificial stream, and what follows is a scene filled with tension and desperation. In another pivotal moment, when a storm forces Alida and several dinosaurs to seek refuge in a cave, the Carnotaurus catch up to them, triggering a battle in the dark. Bruton, in a final act of courage, sacrifices himself by causing a collapse that buries one of the predators. This moment of redemption is also a significant blow to the main threat, as only one of the Carnotaurus brothers survives. But instead of retreating, the remaining beast becomes consumed with rage, and the hunt grows even more personal, more violent. The climax arrives when the herd finally reaches the entrance to the nesting grounds, only to find it blocked by a landslide. Alida, with his more empathetic and hopeful vision, proposes a new path, sparking a direct conflict with Crone. During this dispute, the remaining Carnotaurus attacks once again, turning hope into horror. Crone, in an act of stubbornness, tries to face the predator alone, but is brutally defeated. Nira, his sister, attempts to stop the creature but fails. It's Alida who, with sheer determination and courage, manages to ram the Carnotaurus, pushing it to the edge of a cliff. Desperate to survive, the creature tries to drag Alida down with it, but the hero holds firm, and in the end, the monster's own weight betrays it. The ground gives way, and the Carnotaurus plunges into the abyss, vanishing into the darkness. With its fall, the nightmare that had stalked the herd since the beginning of their journey finally comes to an end. Thus ends the story of the Carnotaurus in Dinosaur, an intense, terrifying, and majestic representation of what an animated villain can truly be. Now that we've thoroughly explored the role these colossal predators played in the story of Dinosaur, it's time to pause and direct all our attention toward them. Because in order to fully understand the level of threat they represent, it's not enough to observe their actions. We need to analyze how they are constructed on a physical, emotional, and symbolic level. We're going to break down their visual design, understand what their behavior reveals about their temperament and potential intelligence, and, of course, delve deep into their most striking abilities, as well as their limitations and vulnerabilities. We'll also uncover some fascinating curiosities that didn't make it into the final cut, but significantly enrich our understanding of these terrifying creatures. The Carnotaurus in this film aren't just a straightforward adaptation of the real dinosaur. They are a monstrous reinterpretation, a stylized and amplified version taken to the extreme, designed with one clear objective: to instill fear. Their silhouette, though inspired by the large theropods of the Cretaceous, was deliberately distorted to evoke something much darker. Standing between 5.5 and 6 meters tall and stretching over 13 meters in length, these predators far exceed the estimated size of a real Carnotaurus sastrii. They are giants, not just in physical dimensions, but in the way they dominate the frame, the atmosphere, and our attention. Their build is designed to project brutality. Every muscle in their bodies is precisely defined, a hypertrophied musculature that turns every movement into a declaration of power. While they retain the tiny forelimbs characteristic of the fossilized Carnotaurus, in the film these limbs are elongated and endowed with exaggerated strength, almost as if their evolution had taken them toward something more demonic than animal. They appear as a hybrid between dinosaur, demon, and alien predator, making them visually unique creatures. Their skin texture is another work of art. Scales hard as iron, with a layer of osteoderms, bony plates, that run along their back like a natural armor. This detail isn't just decorative. It reinforces the idea that we are dealing with a nearly armored being, a living war beast. Their large, powerful hind legs end in claws as sharp as blades, capable of tearing flesh or crushing with ease. Their reddish coloration, combined with grayish and beige tones spread across their face and abdomen, creates a threatening visual contrast, as if their skin were stained with both blood and dust. Then there's the face, an imposing aberration. Its head is large and angular, with a jaw full of serrated teeth and two massive curved horns that rise from the skull like natural weapons. These horns don't just make them more intimidating, they give them an almost mythological presence, as if they were beasts born from some ancient hell. Their gaze is piercing, almost empty, as if nothing remained inside them but hunger, fury, and an uncontrollable drive to hunt. Every element of their design, from their deep, guttural roar to the way they move with stealthy precision, was carefully crafted to generate tension. The result is a creature that doesn't need words to inspire fear. And that's exactly where their power lies. Now then, beyond the design, what truly elevates these predators into memorable antagonists is their behavior. At first glance, they may seem like mere hunting machines driven only by hunger. But if you watch closely, you'll notice a series of surprising nuances. For example, the larger Carnotaurus reacts emotionally when its partner is buried in the cave. Its roar isn't just one of rage, but of desperation. There's something deeply wounded in that sound. It's an almost human expression of grief. We're not looking at a soulless monster. We're looking at a creature that just lost its kin. And that changes everything. This moment wasn't a coincidence. During the early stages of development, the film's creators considered giving them dialogue, like the rest of the talking dinosaurs. However, they scrapped that idea once they realized that true terror came from silence. The decision to turn them into mute predators, communicating only through growls, roars, or charged glances, made them even more chilling. They became figures of death, lurking shadows that appear without warning, like specters from a primal world. Despite this more animalistic approach, the behavior they display on screen suggests an unexpected intelligence. They coordinate attacks, cooperate in pursuit, and protect each other when in danger. These aren't solitary beasts. They hunt as an efficient pack. That implies active memory, conscious strategy, and even an emotional bond between them. They are predators, yes, but also brothers. And that adds a layer of complexity rarely seen in animated villains. Let's now turn to their abilities. The Carnotaurus possess immense strength. They can shatter rocks, crush skulls, and destroy anything in their path. But what's most terrifying is that, despite their massive size, they move with speed and agility. They're fast, surprisingly stealthy, able to hide among trees or stalk from above without being detected. This balance between power and speed makes them highly efficient hunting machines. Additionally, their physical endurance is remarkable. They withstand falls, impacts, injuries, and keep going. Their skin acts as natural armor, shielding them from direct harm. They have an acute sense of smell, allowing them to track prey even at a distance or partially hidden. They also show notable adaptability. They can traverse uneven terrain, climb slopes, and move with ease in harsh climates. Their offensive arsenal includes a lethal bite, hind legs with razor-sharp claws, a long tail that can be used like a powerful whip, and their horns, not just for intimidation, but also for impaling or knocking down enemies head-on. They are hunters who dominate in both open terrain and confined spaces. But even they have weaknesses. Compared to their sense of smell, their vision and hearing appear limited. In scenes with heavy rain or low light, they lose sight of their prey with relative ease. Also, while their intelligence surpasses that of an ordinary animal, it doesn't reach complex levels. They can be tricked with basic tactics, and more than once in the film, they're defeated thanks to their victims' cleverness rather than brute force. And finally, although their endurance is incredible, they are not invincible. One of them dies after being buried in a cave collapse. The other falls from a cliff while trying to drag Alida down with him. They're powerful, yes, but not indestructible. Even the most fearsome monsters can fall. So while the dinosaur Carnotaurus are far from being an accurate paleontological representation, their value as symbolic and visual antagonists is unquestionable. These are creatures designed to stay burned into memory, a fusion of prehistoric beast and mythical figure, as savage as they are tragic, as terrifying as they are fascinating.